Hey everybody, this is Tracy here with another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and we are here to recap Real Housewives of Atlanta Season 9, Part 2 of the reunion. So the show opens as the ladies finish the Porsha anger management conversation, and it ended pretty much how it ended last episode, with Kenya over talking everybody and declaring that she isn't antagonizing Porsha and that Porsha's just an angry person and all that good stuff. And I think Porsha made some good points, but it was like just a few minutes left to that conversation. So then Andy moves the conversation on to Kenya and Matt and their whole saga. And Andy verifies that Matt, never physically hit Kenya, and Kenya agreed that he had never put his hands on her. And so, throughout the show, Andy is reading questions from the viewers. And so someone asks, why Kenya wanted to stay with Matt. And she starts with the excuses and says that she didn't equate his behavior to abuse. So then Andy tells Cynthia that he thought it was odd, when she tried to go and broker a deal between Matt and Kenya. And he asked her, why would she do that? And so she said that, because the two of them were intent on being together, she thought that she could kind of like intervene and find out what each other wanted and what was missing and why they couldn't, figure things out. But she definitely did not, co-sign what was going on. So Kenya says that after Charlotte, she never saw Matt again, but then Andy starts bringing up, remember the scene where Matt said that they had sex in the back of the truck, and then that they had sex in the back of the truck, and then he brings up these letters that Matt had been writing on social media where he was talking about Kenya, writing love letters to Kenya and stuff, and then he brought up that Kenya is supposed to have a new boyfriend or something, and that Matt wrote in one of the letters to the new boyfriend letting him know that there were 3 Magnum condoms in the nightstand or something. So then Kenya, changed the story and said, okay, well, I saw him one time, after Charlotte, and that was when they had sex in the back of the truck. And then, of course, Andy had his little judgmental looks going on. So then the conversation went to Sheree, and, they started talking about the whole thing where, remember when they were at the restaurant and everybody had jumped on Porsha, and Porsha left, and then they ended up in the parking lot, and the whole thing about whether or not Sheree had been physically abused came up. And so as Sheree was trying to talk, Kenya was over talking her, and then it was like really hard for Sheree to make her point. But when Kenya finally shut up, Sheree did affirm that, she does not condone physical abuse or that a man, beating on a woman for any reason. And so when Andy asked Kenya why she revealed that Sheree was abused since it was a secret, and so then Kenya tried to turn the conversation to Sheree, saying that she antagonized people and that it was really crazy. So then Sheree said that she was referring to the women in the group, that Kenya antagonized the women in the group, that she wasn't referring to Matt. And then I think it was Candy that chimed in and said that she too thought that Sheree was saying that Kenya antagonized Matt. So I don't know how that whole conversation got twisted around, but anyway, Sheree said that she was referring to Kenya antagonizing the girls in the group and not Matt. So Kenya says that Sheree talked to her about being abused, but Sheree says that she doesn't recall ever having a personal conversation with Kenya that dealt with abuse where she revealed, any intimate moments in her life. And then Kenya started kind of like trying to drop hints to remind Sheree of the conversation. And then Sheree was like, okay, I've talked to you about being cheated on before, but I never talked to you about being abused. And then Kenya kept with the little hints. And then Sheree said, okay, so I remember what you're talking about, but I didn't tell you that. Is that who you're talking about abused me? So I don't know what that whole conversation was, about, because they were being all coded and secretive and stuff, and Andy didn't seem to be too concerned about it either. Then we had another viewer question, and they wanted to know when Kenya is going to stop hiring boyfriends. So I'm sorry, this was where Andy brought up about the letters that Matt was writing online, not when they were talking about the sex in the back of the truck. So this is where the guy, said that where Matt told the new boyfriend that he left 3 magnums in the nightstand. So then there was another viewer who wants to know why Kenya is so patient with Matt, but a mean girl when it comes to Porsha. And Kenya says that it's because, she has deep feelings for Matt, but Porsha is a nobody. She's not her friend, and she doesn't care anything about her. So Kenya claims that she learned her lesson and realizes that she was not a good role model for women and girls who may be going through domestic violence situations, and so she wanted to apologize. And then next we moved on to Phaedra and her drama this season. Phaedra says that her and Apollo are divorced, but Apollo is contesting the divorce, and that she also paid Apollo a $100,000 settlement, and she's deposited that money into, I guess, his prison account. And then she says that she hasn't told the boys that they're divorced, and that, it's been 2 years since Apollo's been gone. So they're used to him not being there. She just hasn't told them that the marriage is over. And Phaedra says that she is not dating anyone, but her and Shamar Moore talk from time to time. And remember, Andy introduced Phaedra to Shamar Moore on one of the episodes of Watch What Happens Live. So Candy admits that Mama Joyce was out of line for going to see Randy the lawyer. And then they get into a conversation, about the whole divorce and what was real and what was not. And then Phaedra says that Mama Joyce could be trying, that instead of being all in her business and her divorce issues, that she should be trying to deal with some of the legal issues at the Old Lady Gang restaurant. And then Candy claims that Phaedra is calling people at the city to hold up the progress with them from opening, but that they are getting ready to open, which now they are open. And so when Phaedra asks her, what has she done and who has she called, Candy won't give specifics. So when Andy asks, the argument goes to Phaedra and Johnny, and Candy deflects by claiming that Phaedra went and got Johnny to sue her because he had been fired 8 months earlier, so why would he wait so long to file a lawsuit? But Candy, I thought that he went to Phaedra after the two of you got into an argument at that event he was working for you, and you said that would be the last event that he ever worked. So yeah, can we get back to who are these people at the city that Phaedra is calling and telling them to hold up your permits? So Candy says that the reason Phaedra can't win cases is because she can't calculate, referring back to when she said that Candy was paying Johnny like $2.03 an hour. And then Phaedra says, no, that's why you have a lawsuit against you, because you don't know how to pay your employees. Andy jumps in and brings the conversation back to Mama Joyce by asking Phaedra, how did she feel when Candy intervened? Remember when they were having the tasting at the restaurant and Mama Joyce pulled Phaedra to the side to talk about the divorce, and Candy came and said, no, we're not having this conversation. And so again, Phaedra was like, I don't even understand why Mama Joyce is all in my business. So there we have another viewer question, and they wanted to know why Phaedra had security after the bombing threat. And then Andy asks why Candy was offended that Phaedra had made the Black Lives Matter movement reference to what was going on. And then Candy was like trying to explain it, but it didn't make no sense. Didn't make sense then, and didn't make sense at this reunion. And so it gets back to Phaedra and why she didn't talk to the ladies about the divorce and tell them what was going on. And Phaedra just point blank said it wasn't none of their damn business, that they are not her friends, and that she didn't need to reveal to them what was going on. And so Andy asks Porsha, like, was she supposed to read that text to the rest of the group? And not about the text. Was she supposed to tell the girls that Phaedra and Apollo were already divorced? And then Porsha admits that she wasn't supposed to tell them, and that when she watched the show afterwards, she realized that she was out of line and that, she shouldn't have revealed the divorce information. So Andy wants to say that Phaedra makes the women doubt her, and then Phaedra says that she doesn't owe the women anything, and when they ask her about their business, she would tell them whatever, because if they got the nerve to ask, then she just gonna give them some BS they send them on their way so they could talk about that. So Phaedra pulls out a divorce decree, which was signed in July of 2016. And then Kenya tries to play lawyer and explains that what had happened was Apollo told the judge that Phaedra had spelled somebody's name wrong or spelled her name wrong, and it had something to do with the TV show, and that Phaedra knew not to use the TV name, that she should have used the real names, and then the lawyer did this and that happened, and this is why they're not divorced anymore. And so then Phaedra asked Kenya if she's still in contact with Apollo, because she seems to know a whole lot about what was going on in their case. So Phaedra told Kenya that she is like an old condo that has been converted to a townhouse. It was so random and out of the blue. And I was just like, okay, I was so ready for this damn reunion to be over with. So then next on the menu were the kids. So Andy, they do like a little collage as they've done at the beginning of each topic. And then Andy points out that Naomi Campbell was on Watch What Happens Live, and that she thought Kairo could have a future in modeling. And then Cynthia jumps in and is like, well, what else did she say? What else did she say? And then I guess on that same episode, Naomi Campbell said that Cynthia Bailey Modeling Agency would be a good place for Kairo to be. So then another viewer wants to know why Cynthia didn't offer to pay Kairo in cash, knowing how Sheree was. And Sheree points out that Kairo still hasn't got his cargo bag. So Cynthia was sitting there saying, well, the cargo bags are valuable, blah, blah, blah. But when Sheree pointed out he hadn't got that damn bag, then Cynthia said it'll be in the mail tonight. So then the viewers want to know if Sheree feels that she owes Nene an apology for the way she treated her when Bryce was arrested on the marijuana charges. And Sheree says that she does, and that she, understands better that when them kids are out there in them streets, that you have no control over them. And then she also explains that the reason Kairo was arrested is because when the officer pulled them over and he asked them, him and the guy that was in the car with him, had they been drinking, the guy, for whatever reason, decided to reveal that they hadn't been drinking, but they did smoke some weed earlier in the day. And then because Kairo was driving, that was why he got arrested. Viewers don't think that Riley wants to sing, and Candy says that Riley was very excited when Nicki Minaj posted on Instagram that she liked the song. And then Andy asked if it's Riley's dream to be a singer or is it Candy's dream. So then Candy says that, she's really busy with her own things, and she ain't got time to be forcing Riley to be doing anything that she don't want to do. And then Candy, deflects again. She is the queen of deflection. She claims that Xcape is getting back together and that they are in the works for doing a movie about their career or their group. And so her and Todd want another baby, but they are really too busy at the moment. And like I said, she was deflecting because she never said yes or no to the question. So we are going to go with Riley doesn't want to do this, that Candy is pushing her to do it. So have the kids been affected by this season and the things that were revealed, especially, the abuse with Sheree and Cynthia admitting that she has been with a woman before, and then the whole issue with Candy and Porsha. And then Candy says that she talked to Riley and Kayla about it, but they were both unbothered and was like, girl, bye. And Cynthia says that she talked to Noelle about the lesbian comments and that Noelle was cool with it. And then Sheree, she's on the hot seat about her rekindling the romance with Bob. And when Bob made the choking comment, she said that she would have never talked about it if it hadn't come up, and that she had never talked to anyone else about any of the stuff that happened in her and Bob's relationship, because she always wanted to protect him. And Sheree also says that Bob's abuse was verbal, that the majority of his abuse was verbal. And when Andy asks if he ever hit her, she says that they have been physical with each other, but to me, that's translation for I used to hit him and, we might have been hitting each other. But it doesn't sound to me like Bob has physically abused Sheree. It sounds to me like he's a very mean-spirited person. He is an emotional abuser and he is a verbal abuser, but I don't think that he is a physical abuser. But Sheree may have taken some punches at him. And so she also says that she was very surprised that Bob talked so freely and open about, the things that had happened in their relationship. And Andy said that, maybe he had gotten so comfortable that he forgot that the cameras were on. And then Phaedra says that she wanted to beat Bob over the head with her purse and that she was very disappointed and disturbed by the things that she was hearing. Because I guess her and Bob have been friends for a really long time, like even, before the show. And she said that it was just the things that she was hearing. She knew Bob had a nasty streak. But when she heard all the stuff about, him wanting to slam on the brakes and all this other stuff that Sheree was talking about, that she was very surprised and couldn't believe that the depth of his abuse was that bad. So Sheree says that she was very naive and believed that he had changed and wanted to see the family back together. That's why she was willing to give him another chance. So in Hawaii, she says that she never got any answers to her questions as to why he left her. Remember when they were talking about being married and he left for 6 months? That she never got any answers to that, and that she left feeling that he was very unapologetic or sympathetic to anything that had happened in their relationship and didn't want to claim any responsibility. And she says that she has not talked to her kids about the episodes, and so she hasn't talked to her kids about the episodes or anything that happened on this series, on this season. So she doesn't know if they saw them or not, or how they were impacted. And so Sheree says that she is ashamed because she portrays herself as a strong woman, but then allows herself to be treated the way that she has raised her kids to never let anyone treat them. So the show ends with each one of the ladies like going around the room and they're giving their, words of comfort to Sheree. And Cynthia, gives her some good advice and tells her that, she doesn't have to be superwoman, that she can be vulnerable, and that, it's okay to, tell your story because you can encourage somebody else. Candy says that she was really touched by Sheree's vulnerability and that she just couldn't believe that Sheree had been through all these things. And Phaedra, puts out a statistic about black women of all races. Black women are less likely to leave a domestic violence situation. And then Porsha says that she hoped that Sheree learned from this and that, she needs to know her worth and believe in herself and love herself. And in Kenya, she tells Sheree that, she should go ahead and talk to her girls about what happened and that they're not going to look at her differently and that they will respect her more for her honesty and her openness. And, like the people on Twitter were saying that, Sheree needs to talk to her daughters and her sons about what happened because everybody is impacted by domestic violence. Everybody is, not everybody, but all genders, all races, all social classes are impacted by domestic violence, and you should talk to your sons, you should talk to your daughters and let them know that it's not okay to hit people, to verbally or emotionally abuse people, and that it is not okay to be physically, verbally, or emotionally abused yourself. So that was it for episode 2. And girl, I'm telling you, Bob is going to be on next week's episode. I think that's going to be at the start of the episode. But y'all, it's 2 more to go, and I'm exhausted because I'm thinking that if they cut out all these damn clips that they're playing from the season before and Andy stopped asking all these questions from the viewers, that we could be done wrap this up by now. But anyway, leave your comments below, rate the video, and let me know what you thought about part 2 of the reunion. And I will talk to you guys next time, and have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.